Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Insidious, The Red Door. This is the fifth movie? I don't know how many they made of these. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 11, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, as someone who didn't watch the previous 4 movies, I'm lost. But the basic premise is the family is haunted by an evil spirit of some kind, or a demon. I vaguely remember I think I did a breakdown of one of the previous Insidious movies. That one took place in the 80s, I think. Maybe I'm conflating it with another movie, but this one picks up 10 years later. The kid who was a 10-year-old in the previous movie is now a grown adult, going to college, going to art school, and I think it takes place in the modern era, or at least modern enough that the dad has a cell phone, a smartphone. So, yeah, and then, I don't know. It doesn't really explain what's going on, other than they're being haunted by something, and it's in theaters in July. Didn't feel like a summer movie. Summer movies to me, generally, they're not like this. Yeah, hey, let's go see a summer movie. Oh, it's a funeral. Demons. Yeah, it's generally not a good time to release horror movies, big budget horror movies in the summer. You want to release a comedy, a road movie, action movie, adventure, romance, or just something big, something epic. This doesn't feel that big or epic. I mean, it does have a family kind of as the main cast, and they're beating a demon back, I guess, from hell, but I don't know, the trailer doesn't, I guess there's too much baggage from the previous 4 movies to really explain it simply in the trailer, and that's often a problem with sequels. As you get further and further downstream, it becomes a problem. Now, for my writing, doing the Pineys, I kind of saw that in the beginning, and what I tried to do with the Pineys, and what I continue to try to do, is I try to keep the stories relatively separate from each other. I write them like TV shows, but I try to keep them separate. So you go into it with the mindset like, oh yeah, these are separate stories. Got to try to keep them kind of separated. Now, they won't be because of the same characters, but you got to try to keep them as far apart as possible. So the summary, when you have a downstream episode, can still work. And I think the problem with this movie is, I'm guessing, because I didn't see the other movies. I just saw the trailer for like one of them. Is there's too much baggage here to explain how convoluted this is. Either that, or they just didn't bother to explain it, figuring out, nobody's going to go see this movie unless they saw the other 4 movies. Maybe. That's not the way to approach it, I think. I think you got to approach it like, okay, we're going to have a tagline, something, like the final battle, the final possession, Insidious. Like, Insidious, the Red Door just implies like, oh, it's another episode of Insidious. Here he goes, the wacky Insidious guy. Now, I think you need a little more than that for us noobs, because I didn't see the damn movies. If you want to get me to watch it, now maybe you don't care, I don't know. But I think you should care. I don't know what the Red Door is. I don't know what any of this is. I know there's a demon, and I know there's a family involved. And I've seen this dude before in the previous movie. Wasn't he the sheriff? I may be confusing it with another horror movie very similar. But I remember the Insidious movie coming out. But, how many years has it been? Has it been 10 years in actual time? Because if so, then you definitely need a refresher here. The trailer should be the refresher. A family who was haunted. You know, even in Poltergeist, we kind of got that in the sequels. And then that one got out of hand too. I mean, at some point, I guess Hollywood just checks out and says, F it. Nobody's going to see this thing at number 5 to start with. You could. You could if you make it separate enough, or if you make it watchable enough. You can kind of separate it. Again, you want to still have callbacks to the previous movies because that's fun for the fans too of the previous movies. But all right, breakdown. Act 1. The family is still being haunted by this guy, a ghost or whatever he is, demon. Never quite got over the last 4 movies. The son is going to college. The father's having some problems, starting to see visions again. Sends the son to college. He's going to art school. He starts to have the visions. Okay? Second act. The visions get worse and worse and worse. The monster appears and does horrible things. I think he cuts his hand. He gets a girlfriend at college. I guess it haunts her too. I don't know. Maybe it threatens her, or he goes crazy. The father has to come back to the college to get him because it's attacking the whole family. And then I guess as a family unit, they have to confront the evil. And then in the third act, they get together and they do that. And they win? Finally, for the final time? And then this series is over? Or unless it makes a lot of money, in which case, maybe we'll do one more. I just don't I just don't see this as something that should keep going. Like the Amityville Horror, that went on way too long too. They literally did a version of the Amityville Horror which involved the Titanic and like space aliens. That was really stupid. It was a low budget thing, but it's just, after a while it's over. Unless you got some new twist. Like Halloween went on way too long. The first movie's great. The second movie's really a repeat of the first movie. The third movie was totally different and off the rails, and then they just kind of forgot about it, and then they went back to doing Mike Myers. But like this, how many times could you see a family that's haunted? Like, how many times are they going to be haunted? Like, what do they have to do? Same thing with like Blair Witch. Like, after a while, it just gets to be the same thing, unless you add, I don't know, more superpowers for the ghost, or change it up from a ghost to a werewolf or something. At that point, you really ought to just, let's do a different movie. You could do a different movie. It's just, I guess, and people wonder why. I saw the 5th installment of this franchise. It wasn't as good as the first movie. Yeah, no S. It's never going to be as good. It's never going to be as good. What they're really doing, I guess, is trying to troll for new people. Like John Wick apparently made more money than any other John Wick movies, John Wick 4. So now they're talking a 5th movie. But that's a little weird because they went up on ticket prices, and then you had the pandemic. It probably hurt the previous movie. I don't know when that one came out. But my point is, Hollywood, Jesus, make something new. No offense to this movie. It looks fine. If you like the Insidious movies, if you like horror movies, it's probably very watchable. It looks okay. It's just kind of hard to tell from this trailer, and it should be a little easier to understand, I think. I don't really get the whole Insidious thing, other than they're haunted by an evil demon. That's pretty much the plot of every horror movie these days. Boogeyman, Talk to Me, I just looked at. It's kind of all the same. Maybe change it up somehow. Even within the franchise, you could change it up, right? Is this the one where somebody was possessed before? Maybe they're not possessed this time. I think that's a little bit of a change up, but maybe possess someone different. I don't know. Maybe possess the house. Maybe turn it into a poltergeist thing. I don't know. Just something different. That's all I ask for. It's hard to actually do original stories, but Hollywood, doesn't even seem to do the slightest thing different. It's all the same. It all blurs into to nothing, to nothingness that just like is so pointless to watch sometimes. Anyhow, on that cheery note, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. If you can find a more bass take, take it. I will be at the Gloucester City Museum tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. to tell you how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Hope to see you there, and we'll see you tomorrow.